That's right. Better tune in. I didn't know it was going to go off. I didn't know the gun was going to go off. I didn't know it was going to go off. All right. Where did it go? Where'd my bullet go? We're just waiting for Jason Arntz, and then we're going to be talking about how to get boulder shoulders. Because I don't know if you remember Jason in his prime. He had some of the best shoulders in the business. And I never had great shoulders. So I figured it's a good topic because it's something that I want to learn about. And it's something that Jason was always that was a great body part for him, was always his shoulders. But if you guys have I know he's my friend. If you guys ever get a chance, go and look up some of the contests he was in. There was one, I don't remember what show it was. And he was right next to Lee Priest. And it was close. Like, it's Lee Priest, don't get me wrong, but it was close. Jason Arntz was a great bodybuilder for his time. He really was. He was a good bodybuilder. You know, if he would have... And then toward the end of his career, when he first started his career, it was open. It was every man for himself. Toward the end of his career, they started 202. And that's when he was able to like really do damage. You know, he would be breaking the top 5 at the Olympia on 202 and he, so on and so forth. And being on the Olympia stage every year on the 202. And then they changed it to 212. But I think by that point, he was retired. He was retired by that point. Anyway, so we're just waiting for him, and we're going to be talking about boulder shoulders. Now, before we actually go into that, you guys probably know that I'm very patriotic when it comes to the United States. I am very much America first. I wish most people would be. There's one person watching. Why does this even exist? Hey, you better shut up, Jimmy El Toro. Screw you. Right now, there's 3 people watching, all right? Jimmy. Anyway, my other channel, about 4 months ago, I changed completely. And I changed the title, I changed the content, and it is all current events, America first, basically things that are happening, today in the media, and current events. And I'm having some trouble getting it off the ground. Since I changed the content, the title, I changed everything. It's like starting from scratch, So it's called Serious Outcasts. And if you guys are interested in that kind of thing, like I just did a video on Don Lemon and what happened with the church in Minneapolis. I did a video on when Nick Shirley broke the story about the fraud in Minneapolis. I did all that. So if you guys are really interested, go over there, Serious Outcast, and take a look and see if you like it. Hopefully you do like it, because it's something that I'm pretty passionate about. And what's actually good for me is I actually do a lot of research before it goes in, and we'll see. It actually comes out pretty good when I dive into the research, because I don't just talk from emotion. I like to get the data accurate. But anyway.
Hey.
Yo, what's up, motherfucker?
My apologies, dude. The fucking smoke detector was going off for like 5 minutes.
Oh, you know what?
Dude, I don't get it. We got a new smoke detector, right?
Yeah.
'Cause the other one was old.
Yeah.
And this one is the first time it ever went off. My daughter's cooking. But dude, have you ever had a smoke detector that you have to hit the button to shut it off?
Yeah.
They usually go off by themselves. My wife's laughing now. She's like, do you have to hit the button? I'm like, no, you shouldn't have to. She hits the button and it shuts off. So I feel like an idiot.
No, that's all right. Usually, I thought you meant the chirp.
Yeah, it was. Well, no, it was. There was smoke in the house. 'Cause
Oh
she's
no,
cooking.
the smoke detector went off. I thought you meant the chirp, like when the battery's dying, the backup
No,
battery.
no, when it actually signaled when there's smoke.
Yeah, that
But-
happens all the time. My wife is cooking and it goes off, and you hit the button, you know.
And it goes right off. Oh,
Usually it goes right off. Yeah.
dude,
just
everyone I've had
resets.
before. Everyone I've had before. As soon as the smoke's gone, it shuts off.
Oh, maybe, yeah. But I think the button is there just in case that something like that happens. You're just cooking and you can just reset it immediately. You
Right.
know. Anyway. Before we jump into, I want to show everybody. Now, everybody knows that this part of the show is sponsored by I Prevail Subs. So I wanted to show some of the gifts that I got from my friend Jason Arntz. So here we go. We got Dream Chaser. This is now. What happened?
You've tried that before, right?
Yeah, this is now my second favorite product that you make.
Oh, thank you.
Dream Chaser. It was my first favorite product, but now it is my second favorite product because my first favorite product now is the fiber.
Dude, really good. I told you, right?
I take good shits. People don't realize taking a good shit means a lot.
The gut health.
I'm already like halfway through it.
Yeah, no, are you really? I mean,
Yeah,
how much
swear to God. I take a scoop a day, so just sent it to
yeah,
me.
that's what I do. But dude,
Yeah.
how good
Oh,
does
my
that
wife
work?
uses it too.
How good does that work, though? Right?
It does. I take good shit, and it's like a good shit too. It's like, oh man, you're on the bowl and bow. You're like, oh, that's a good one. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like little dribs and drabs. I hate that. Sometimes I take it and I get gas, and I'm like laying farts, and I'm like, and then all of a sudden, boom, it hits me, and then it's all out. So go on. It's just called fiber. It's the watermelon flavor, watermelon kiwi, and I usually don't like watermelon, but I did like this.
Flavor's good, right?
Yes, it is. And then we got Rogue X.
There you go.
Probably the best. I'm going to say the best quality pre-workout that you're going to get.
Yeah, thank you.
It's quality because you have in here, you got your niacin, your calcium, your magnesium, sodium, potassium.
That's your electrolyte panel. That's for hydration.
You also have your pink Himalayan salt. So you have all your electrolytes.
Right.
And the caffeine isn't over the top. The caffeine is 178 milligrams.
Well, that's just the one source.
Yeah. And then you have an extended release caffeine that's 100 milligrams.
And a delayed release. Yeah.
And then you have caffeine citrate that's 70 milligrams. Everybody knows that a really good pre-workout always has the extended release caffeine. That's and you do have it in here, 100 milligrams. So it doesn't it's not one of those pre-workouts that you take and bang and hit you like a ton of bricks. It's a long lasting energy, if you will. Right. So good quality products. It is I Prevail Subs. The link is in the description, and the discount code SNS10 is also in the description. So that's it. Jason, do you make a creatine? Yes, Jason does make a creatine.
Oh, dude, I have a good high quality creatine. It's micronized. It's 200 mesh. It's easily absorbable. No bloating, no distension of your stomach. It's on the website also. It's just a pure creatine monohydrate. It's a 60 serving. And
I think I'm actually going to start taking creatine. I have.
Oh, you don't use it?
No, I have one downstairs. I never really got into creatine. I tried it I tried it about 5 or 6 different times. But now that more data is out about it, where it's a really great product with not too many side effects at all, and the shit about your kidney source and drinking a million gallons of water and having to load up on it, and remember all that, and you got to take it with sugar. Since that's all basically bullshit now.
Everybody has their own version on how to take it and how to take this and what to do that. And to a certain degree, not all of them are wrong. You know, it's just how
Right.
I like it better this way. I like it better this way. Hey,
Right.
I like to be on top. Hey, I like it from behind. You know, like
Yeah,
everybody,
yeah.
you know, I mean, and you can't, if it works for them that way, you can't tell them no. But ironically, the data's always been there on it. But I think people, and this is what we talked about, I think last time, is, you know, the essential ingredients that are out there that really work. They're there. They've been there. They're never going anywhere. You know, so I think people get fed up. Hey, I saw this literature on this new ingredient and
Right.
I nothing from it. Oh, let me try this creatine. You're trying creatine now instead of like this other shit that people did a, you know,
Yeah.
pseudo study on and make these false claims. But creatine, it's always going to work. You're always going to benefit from it.
Yeah, I think I'm actually gonna. Matter of fact, after this, I think I'm gonna go downstairs and I'm gonna put a scoop of creatine with a scoop of fiber and down it.
There you go.
Yeah. So I wanted to do this video today on getting good shoulders, cap shoulders, wide shoulders, because of two reasons. One, I never had great shoulders. I always really had to really push myself to get to see any kind of progress in my shoulders. And I always tried so many different things for shoulders, drop sets, supersets, volume, really heavy, whatever it was. And you, in your prime, had probably the best shoulders in bodybuilding at one point. You had great shoulders when you were in your prime. So now here's the thing. Some people could basically do anything and their shoulders grow, just like any other body part. Like if you have a great, like my legs, I could kind of do anything and they grow, right? I always had really good legs, really good calves, really good quads. And then there are people that push it to the limit and force them to grow, right? So I wanted to know were you genetically gifted, or were you the type of guy that had to put so much work into those shoulders?
So, of course, genetics play a role in this, but I've always had a wide clavicle. You know, like you see guys that have narrower frames. So, you know, a good set of shoulders on me looks so much more impressive because I have a naturally wide stature, right?
Right. Now, when you say wide clavicles, for people that don't know, what does that mean exactly?
Like your collarbone, this is attached to your clavicle, sternum.
Okay.
So the wider, I don't want to say longer, but the wider your sternum is in your clavicle, the humerus hits up into your shoulder socket up here. It's just a little wider. Excuse me.
So for people who don't, good examples would be like Dennis Wolf, obviously Andrew Jacked.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously Samson. Those would be good examples.
Well, I'll give you an example. Lee Priest doesn't have a naturally wide frame.
Right.
But his fucking shoulders were so big that he compensated.
Didn't matter.
It made his X frame look great. You know, where I had a wider clavicle, and even if my shoulders are the same size as Lee, it looked wider on me because of my skeletal structure, right?
Yeah.
But even with that being said, you know, no muscle is hard to, no muscle is easy to grow. You got to put the work into it, you know, and shoulders were actually one of my favorite things to train because I was strong, but I started paying a lot more attention to developing the rear delts and the side delts, because that's what makes you look really wide when you stand up there in the front relax pose. You can have the biggest front delts in the world and be able to do overhead presses with, 400 pounds. But if you don't have those side delts,
right,
that make you look wider from the rear, it's not going to show as well. But heavy training. I used to do dumbbell presses with 150-pound dumbbells. After doing behind the neck presses and my laterals, and 6 to 8 sets for just rear delts alone. You gotta put the time in. You gotta put the time in to develop these areas.
So in your prime, what was your shoulder routine like?
Shit. I can say, I always started with rear delts.
Okay.
wanted to attack them first because, again, I always thought that's what really helps them stand out on stage, right?
And it also helps to warm up the shoulder too.
Yeah.
Because I do the same thing. I start with rear delts, but go ahead.
So I would do either rear delt machine, bent over laterals, cable laterals. Like I had 3 or 4 different. I would do the cable, cable crossovers where you would train for chest.
Okay.
So you would do, cable flies,
Yeah.
So I would grab the cables overhead and lie back on a bench and do rear delts this way.
Oh, yes. Okay.
It was just a great exercise. It really attacks that rear head.
Yeah.
So I would do 3 or 4 sets there, and then 3 or 4 sets of either, bent over laterals or a rear delt machine. Then I would go over to side delts and, 4 or 5 sets of side laterals. And dude, I used to go heavy. Like we did side laterals with, dude, I probably 70, 80 pound dumbbells,
Right. Yeah.
drop sets with them beyond failure. And I'd finish up with front presses. But by that time, dude, you're so warmed up that, I would do hundreds, 110s, 120s, 130s and 150s.
So you would do heavy side laterals.
Well, I don't want to misquote that,
Heavy for you, heavy for, right.
Yeah, heavy for me,
it's all relative, right?
Yeah, it's all relative, right? So, it was heavy, but the form was still perfect.
Right.
It was a perfect execution. That's what I always, that was my signature thing when I trained. It was just paying attention to detail, perfect form, no momentum, training the muscle, not allowing secondary muscles to move the weight, pay attention to detail. But yeah, I mean, I was able to do 70s or 80s with side laterals and maintain that form and execution. So that might sound, extraordinarily heavy for most people.
Well, that is very heavy. Even for bodybuilders, that's heavy.
Yeah, but somebody could get away with using 40s, 40s or 50s and develop the same way. You don't necessarily need to go to the 80s. I just happen to be stronger at that time. I
actually just started going heavier on side laterals again. But for a very long time, I would just do, when I did side laterals, I do a lot of drop sets. Like I would literally go I would do 40s, 30s, 20s, 10s. Next set, 40s, 30s, 20s, 10s. 40 till failure, 30s till failure, 20s till failure. And
that running the rack.
Yeah, right. And that's what I would do. And and I would get a great pump and I would feel it and so on and so forth. But I've been doing that for so long that I'm like, okay, I think it's time to change. I mean, I know I'm old and I'm not young and I'm not going to develop like I'm young, but that mindset is always there.
Yeah.
That mindset is always there. So I had trained in Staten Island on Monday night.
Right.
And I did a rare breed gym in Staten Island. And I, instead of going doing supersets, I decided that I was going to go heavy side laterals, and 40s and 50s basically were heavy for me. Right. With good form, with decent volume. I still wanted to hit the 8, 10, 12 rep range, right? But then
that's a good range, dude. That's where you tap into some of those. You tap into that red zone. Use the fast acting fibers initially, then you start getting into the slow twitch. The more reps you do, so you'll benefit more from that rep range instead of just doing like 4 to 5 reps.
Okay. And then what was funny though, but I still wanted to do what then I would get on I forgot what the machine is, the shoulder machine for side delts,
Yeah, machine laterals.
And I still went on that and did that at a lighter weight with a lot of volume.
Right.
But because shoulders is one of those body parts where it was like, if I didn't kill it and I didn't train it hard and train heavy plus a lot of volume, I never saw progress. So that's always been my mindset when training shoulders. In your opinion, what has been the best approach for most people for getting cap shoulders?
So to have that cap look again, that's like what I was stating was that's all rear and side delts. So pay attention. Not a lot of people they like the heavy pressing, or they like doing the heavy side laterals in front of the mirror, and they neglect the rear delts.
Okay.
But those rear delts is what visually you see from the front
Okay.
that really pop off on the sides. So I would pay much more attention to rear delts and give them, at least maybe 4 to 6 sets of really intense training, not counting your warm-ups. Incorporate that approach to your rear delt training, and then hit your sides the same and hit your fronts the same. But the more detail, the more attention you could give to rear delts, the more capped your shoulders are going to look.
Okay. I do start with rear delts. And one of the things that I do was taught to me by a friend, but he got this from John Meadows. And you could either do it at the front, at the beginning of the workout, or at the end. I choose to do it at the beginning because it hits mostly rear. And I don't know if you ever saw this John Meadows version of hitting rear delts, but you put your inclined bench at 30 degrees. And then you have like either 10 or 15 pound dumbbells. And you're basically going to do supersets. But what you do is at first you kind of do like what's a swimming movement, right? And then from there you do the I'm trying to if I could pronounce it right, I don't know. You want to do like a rear delt, on an angle, and then W's, right? And then hanging, the arms hanging down, kind of, again, I don't have the right
like face down on an incline,
face down, and then just kind of a hanging swing from the back, and you would get 10 or 15 pound dumbbells and do each movement till failure, and do that 3 or 4 times, right? And my rear delts would be on fire after that. You know,
it's hard to visualize some of it, but dude, if you're feeling it there. Yeah, it's working.
So basically, you're face down on a 30-degree angle of a basically like an inclined bench angle, right? And at first, like you're doing a swimming movement with the dumbbells. Then you're doing the rear delts, right? And then you're doing W's, and then you do like this hanging. I don't know what you actually call it. It's a hanging swing. Right. I've seen plenty of guys do it with a lot really, really heavy dumbbells. But the way I was showed was supersets with lightweight, and it really, really kills your rear delts. And then I go into my presses. Right. Then I go into my heavy dumbbell presses. And at my age, I'm gonna be 50, dude. God bless. I'm a fucking sexy bastard for 50, right? So, and when I did dumbbell presses, I went up to 110s for reps. I think I got it for like a good 8 or 9 reps, all the way up to 110s. But I start with 50s, 60s, 75s, 85s, 95s, all the way at 100s, 110s, all the way up. Right. Now, what's your philosophy on upright rows? Some people love them, and some people.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing, and it's hard to go against this guy, dude. He was one of the best in the world ever. Dorian did this video a while back saying he never saw, the advantage or the percentage, of doing upright rows. He thought it was a shit exercise.
Dorian does that a lot because I watch plenty of Dorian videos. Yeah. He does that with upright rows. He also said the same thing for wide lat pull downs. Yeah. And there was another.
So let me jump in. So I didn't agree with him with upright rows. They do hit the front and side delt, and they kind of bring that tie-in up into your trap area. They hit that peak contraction. So do they work? And if you see you're profiting from it, you're gaining muscle from it, you're getting blood flow there, you can't really, maybe it didn't work for him. Maybe his biomechanics didn't really. And that's the thing is what works for one person
Right.
isn't going to work for everybody else.
And I think that's what it is with Dorian. Exactly.
But with the wide grip pull downs, there's a great rear delt exercise you could do. If you go on a lat pull down machine, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you want to do is you don't even need a lot of weight. Put 60 pounds on there. Take a wide stance, lean forward, keep your ass back, and pull the bar behind your head.
Mm-hmm.
3/4 of the way and just contract your rear delts. Dude,
really?
Hit the peak of the rear delts. It's a great finishing exercise, but do 3 sets of them after you do the either a rear delt machine or bent over rear delt laterals, dude. Like you'll thank me in the morning.
Yeah, and it's what's odd is that there's a lot of different movements for shoulders that you kind of get creative. That people have gotten creative throughout the years, like great trainers like Meadows and like Charles Glass and so on and so forth. That's another guy that I look into a lot, Charles Glass, because his form and his training style philosophies is just unbelievable. Like even the way he does a side lateral for shoulders. That's how I do it, because when it comes to shoulders, I try to hit every angle, every detail, and be as strict as possible, because I never had these great shoulders. So I always had to put so much effort into it, Well,
that's what's great about some of these top trainers. Like, who just said that? Juiced Up. Yeah, dude, Meadows had a great philosophy and he had a great approach. And Charles Glass is one of those guys, dude. He's just so unique.
Yeah.
And he pays such specific attention to detail.
Right.
So any movement your body has, you're incorporating some sort of muscle fiber, right? Mm-hmm. So he creates these weird angles and these unusual approaches, but dude, they fucking work.
It's unbelievable. He can look at a machine.
Yeah. And find another way to make it work. But if you want to be a well-rounded bodybuilder, and a lot of his exercises, dude, to be honest, like, your track and field athletes, your football players, they're going to respond better to the power type movements, the presses, the squats, the deads, the cleans. Right. But your bodybuilder who wants to look good from all these different angles, they're really going to benefit from these types of approaches. But you got to remember also this is for advanced guys, this isn't the way you grow your body. This is when you've exhausted, all other avenues, and you start doing stuff like that. And then manipulating these new movements gives you better, mobility and just tweaks the body in certain ways that really give you like that little extra edge on those high levels, on that high level stage.
Yeah, 100%. Guys like Meadows and Charles Glass. And just to prove your point, a lot of the guys that trained with Charles Glass that went on to win major titles like Arnold's and Olympias went to Charles when they were already established and they needed to work on something specific.
Yeah, hey, I need to tweak it just to get to that top tier. That's
when Dexter went to him. That's when Sean Roden went to him.
Chris Kamara, Flex Wheeler, these guys, like the best guys in the world.
Yeah.
Most of them at some point worked for Charles Glass.
Yeah, 100, absolutely. The guy's a genius. There's no question. In the gym, Charles Glass is a genius. There's not even an argument. He might be the best ever as far as in the gym. But you're right. A lot of it is advanced. Now, if you're talking about a beginner and intermediate level, basically your shoulder routine is going to be, rear delts, front lateral raises, rear lateral raises, and dumbbell shoulder presses. Well, you could use. Right. Do you always prefer dumbbell shoulder presses, or do you prefer with the barbell? Because a lot of girls, listen to me. A lot of guys prefer the barbell. And I remember when Branch and Johnny Jackson put out those videos with the really heavy shoulder presses with the barbell, then of course everybody wanted to do the heavy shoulder presses with the barbell, right?
Yeah. I like both, but there's something special about using dumbbells.
Yeah.
Especially, for isolated shoulder movements like that, just because you can come down, you get a little bit of a better stretch. You can move your elbows and you're not compromised. Your form isn't compromised because of the rigidity or the rigidity of a bar being rigid.
Right.
You know, where you have more pliability, you know, with using dumbbells. You can kind of construct your form to fit your natural biomechanics. Where if you're on with a barbell or a Smith machine, the bar's not going to bend. You got to come down this way because your hands are going to move. You know, your upper body's going to shift.
Yes.
So I like dumbbells a little better, but I did do it both ways.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Absolutely. Now, would you ever do the Arnold presses with the dumbbells where you would swing in front?
So that was one exercise that I'll do that now because I'm fucking old, you know?
Yeah.
But I didn't get a lot of growth out of that. So that wasn't one of my go-to exercises. I actually probably utilized that the least.
Yes.
I would do it to warm up, just, you know, rotating my arms around, warming up, movements like that. But I didn't like the front raises. Or actually, I would do reverse barbell presses to the front.
Right.
Those I liked. But the Arnold press where you're rotating that way, or the front raises, I just didn't. I didn't like those too much.
Yeah, the Nick Trigili swears by the Arnold presses where you swing them in front. But again, when you are a beginner or even at an intermediate level, the basics have to be there. Then it gets to the point where everybody kind of has to individualize a little bit, and you have to realize what works for you and what works for the next person. And that's what makes a good trainer, is that they could realize the person they're training, what is going to work for them and what is going to not work for them, right? And I think that's what always kind of was Dorian's problem, is that he would be like, nah, that's useless. I don't like that because it never worked for him.
If it didn't work for him, he didn't really see that would.
You know, anytime he ever did a lat pull down, it was a close grip. You know, pull down elbows into the lats. He never did like a wide lat pull down. He never really liked it too much. He never liked upright rows. He never liked regular squats. He'd rather squat on a hack squat. You know, it takes a special person. It takes a special athlete to understand how to train everybody individually.
Right.
You know, and if you notice, the best guys are never the most gifted bodybuilders.
Right.
And it's always the case. You know, always the case. The Chris Acetos, George Farahs, Hani, who's the other guy? The guy from the Netherlands there. What's his name?
The guy that trained Flex Loads?
Yeah, the guy that trained Flex. What's his name?
Oh, fuck, dude.
Neil Hill.
Yoda. Neil Hill.
Yeah. These guys were good bodybuilders. They were great bodybuilders. They weren't top tier, breaking top 5 Olympia caliber bodybuilders, but they became great trainers, you know, and it's always the case, you know.
Well, you know why is it just like some best coaches in the NFL were never the best players.
I think I think it's across the board with sports, period.
Well, and I think the reasoning is because, you know, some of those guys, they want so hard because they're all hard workers.
Yeah.
Every one of those guys, every one of those trainers you just mentioned is a fucking hard worker.
Right.
But they were lacking something that really got them to the elite level, right?
Right.
Or got them over that hurdle. So they're like, hey, if I could put my mental approach into somebody else who has these genetics, what the fuck's going to stop them? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So that's the kind of guy you want, is the guy that's driven, you know, by discipline and by motivation
and the detail.
Yeah. And you know this is what they want for themselves, you know?
No, I remember when Phil Heath was Mr. Olympia and King Kamali was on RX Muscle, and the question was, and I'll never forget it, the question was, you know, is Big Ramy going to beat Phil Heath this year? Something to that effect. And King Kamali goes, no. And he goes, a blind albino snake could train Phil Heath. He's still going to be Mr. Olympia. and it's the guys that are that gifted, you know, they don't have to pay attention to detail. So it never makes them great trainers. Did you ever watch? Oh God, it was such a good show. The Bronx is Burning. It was about the Yankees in the 1970s. Well, during that the late 70s when the Yankees were winning all the World Series, right? And Reggie Jackson was on he was the monster hitter. He was the fucking animal home run hitter on the Yankees at the time. And he was in a slump. And there's a scene in The Bronx is Burning where he's like I don't know if he's in an ice bath or he's in a hot tub, something like that, where he's healing and he's and the batting coach comes over to talk to him. And the batting coach is telling him in detail what he needs to do to get out of the slump. And Reggie Jackson's like just sitting there going, hey, well, what was your batting average when you played? And he goes, he said he went like this to the batting coach. He goes, I got it. I'll figure it out. I got it. Like, because those guys they could just do it. And the guys that could just do it never made great coaches. It's the truth. It's the truth. Even in boxing, Freddie Roach, probably one of the greatest trainers ever. Terrible. Got the shit kicked out of him in the ring.
But he wanted it. But he fucking wanted it.
Absolutely. You could just go down
every time.
Yeah. Oh God. All right. So I Prevail Subs. Probably the best quality pre-workout you're ever going to get. Rogue X. Fiber so you could take a shit. And Dream Chaser so that you can get a good night's sleep. These are my favorite. This is number one now, and this is number two. My favorite products that of yours. And I'm not lying. Like this pre-workout is an excellent quality pre-workout.
Thank you for that.
You're very welcome. Do you want to stick around for muscle talk, or are you going to bed, or you're exhausted?
Nah. When are you going on? How long?
10 minutes.
Yeah, send me the link. I'll try to take care of a couple things. I'll check on in about 15, 20 minutes.
All right, sounds good, man. I'll see you in a little bit.
See you in a bit.
Later.